Good evening. It's wonderful to be back with you once again, isn't it, Ronnie?
Indeed it is. And in a packed programme tonight, we shall be meeting the owner of a chicken which has been fed on Smarties only for the past 2 months, and today laid the first Rubik egg.
But first, the news. Britain's gravediggers came out on strike this morning, and this afternoon the undertakers came out in deepest sympathy.
A tragic accident has ended the career of Plastex, the amazing plastic man. He sat on a radiator today and made a complete fool of himself.
George Trimble, Blackpool's longest-serving deck chair attendant, was better tonight after collapsing at work today. It took 5 people 40 minutes to work out how to get him up again.
Music. And a team of researchers in Salzburg have uncovered an early Mozart score. She was only 16 and lived over the bakery opposite.
Finally, in Wales today, the anti-English front claimed responsibility for Max Boyce's cabaret act.
But now a sketch, featuring Mr. Ronnie Corbett, who's always being let down by people, otherwise he'd never get off the bus.
Hello, I don't believe we've met. Clive Winfrey.
Hello, my name is...
No, don't tell me. There's a little game I like to play at parties.
Oh.
Yes, guessing people's names. Yes, I'm very good at it, too, yes. I always guess their name by what they look like, you know.
Well, I think you're on a loser with me, old boy, because I have the most unusual name you've ever heard.
I bet I can guess it.
I bet you can't.
How much you bet me?
Well, I'm so sure that you will not be able to guess my name. Now, tell you what, if you get it right, I will allow you to spend the night with my wife, Daphne, the beautiful lady in the red. Now, if you get it, you see, she's smiling, looking, and chuckling away there. Yes. She obviously fancies you. Now, if you get my name correct,
yes,
she's yours.
All right.
Now,
how many guesses can I have?
You can have as many as you like.
All right. Well, you look to me like a Pratt. Sidney Pratt.
No.
Perhaps you're more like more like a Wally. Are you, let's see, Wally Partington Smythe?
No.
Monty Rothermere?
No.
Aristotle Bonaventure?
No.
Otis Quigley?
No.
Humbert Bracegirdle?
No.
Tennessee Clitterhouse?
No.
Mordecai Wimperis?
No.
Ezra Barrington Crichton?
No.
Ebenezer Flatfast?
No.
Ignatius Giddy?
No.
Washington Thwackhurst? Jelly Roll Lanfranc? Israel Arafat?
I think you're just guessing. No. Look, I'll give you a clue. My surname sounds like something that comes out at night.
Comes out at night. Malcolm Dentures. Jeremy Horlicks? Freddie Starr?
No, more exciting than that.
Oh, more exciting. Dingle Tomcat.
No, I don't think you're going to get it.
I don't think your wife's going to get it.
No, I'll give you another clue.
Oh, yes, right.
My Christian name sounds like a place in London with all the letters muddled up.
Lewisham Post Office.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant an anagram.
Oh, an anagram? You mean like Dickapilly Circus and that sort of thing?
Yes,
well, let me think. Waterloo. Loo Water.
No.
Chalk Farm. Fork Charm.
No.
Hyde Crack Porno.
No, you're not even getting warmer, boy. I've got to mingle with the crowd, but remember, the bet still stands. If you manage to guess it, my wife is yours.
Oh, right. Oh, Arbel March Tea Fruit Bat.
My God, you got it. You guessed it.
So I get the prize, do I?
Of course you do. I daren't go back in my word. Tell me, how did you manage it?
Well, luckily, earlier in the evening, I met a very charming lady called Mrs. Arbel March Tea Fruit Bat in the red over there.
Good evening. As you can see, I'm invisible. Now, what does this mean? Well, firstly, and indeed mainly, you can't see me. Secondly, I can't see myself either. So how do you know I'm here? How do I know I'm here? Well, it says so here in my notes. BBC Wood Lane. But just to prove it, Miss Heseltine... Ah, there you are, Miss Heseltine. Could you pick up that pencil, please? One up to me, I think. But some of you must be asking, why can't I see his suit? Well, the answer is staring me in the face. I'm not wearing one. I'm an invisible nudist. And the chaps at the BBC have given me 3 minutes to state my case. Excuse me, the time starts now. That's it. Now, you're probably thinking I haven't seen anyone invisible down my street. Well, you wouldn't, would you? But that empty position in the post office, now that's probably one of us. Might even be one of us who's one of them. The gay invisible front. And back, for that matter, they're a splinter group. Now, let me show you a graph. Just come over here, would you? Now, here we have a graph showing the earnings of ordinary people in 1981. And here is the same graph for invisible people. You see, our invisible earnings were nil. Trouble is, whenever we go for a job interview, the man just shouts next. Now, many of our members are important figures. Here is our president and lady wife at the royal wedding. There they are on the right. And several of our members are prominent sportsmen. Here's Reg Johnson winning the Cheltenham Silver Cup. And our football team featured in a recent Spot the Players competition. And, of course, we can let our hair down. Here are 118 of our members crammed into a phone box for charity. But we do have to keep our strength up. And that's why we have to drink a pint of milk a day. Just excuse me a moment, would you? Ah, that's better. I feel a new man. And that's one of the other perks. Which brings me to a tremendous problem, sex. For instance, on your wedding night, it's not much fun wearing see-through pyjamas if all you can see through them is a wardrobe and a chest of drawers. To be frank, our members are not made of wood. If they were, you could see them. But embarrassments do occur. One of our members was enjoying a bit of connubial bliss with his wife, a very visible and lovely lady, when in burst the milkman, who misunderstood her smile and gave her a nasty shock. But not half the shock he gave her invisible husband. So do help us. We need money for our splendid new headquarters. There they are. As you see, they're almost completed. We need money for clothing, fig leaves for the women and bow ties for the men. We've handed in a petition to 10 Downing Street, but Margaret Thatcher won't even see us. So please send your donations to the Invisible Man, Invisible House, Nowhere, Milton Keynes. Oh, and don't bother to look at that chair anymore. I'm over here in the audience with Miss Heseltine. Good night.
Cheryl's husband, wasn't it?
What was that?
Well, she was trying to economise. She fed him dog food, she did.
That's dangerous.
I know, but she wouldn't do it, took no notice. She said, Fred ate it all up, she said, and came back for more.
Oh, what happened then?
Well, he's in hospital now.
Oh, well, awful.
Oh, yes. Nothing to do with the dog food, though.
Oh, well, that's a relief. Well, what happened then?
Well, he was cocking his leg in the middle of the road and a lorry hit him. Singing Stormy Weather, our guest this week, please welcome Madeline Bell.
Don't know why there's no sun up in the sky. Stormy weather, and me and my man ain't together. Keeps raining all the time. Life is bare, gloom and misery's everywhere. Stormy weather, I can't seem to get myself together. Keeps raining all the time. Since he went away, blues walked in and met me. Now he's gone away, rocking chair will get me. All I do is pray, Lord above will let me walk in the sun once more. Can't go on, everything I have is gone. Stormy weather, I'd better pull myself together.
mystery, intrigue, and a disappearing all-girls orchestra. Our two overrated heroes, Piggy and Charlie, are getting themselves deeper in it by the minute. Two of the girls in the band, Jane and June, the tuneful twins, turn out to be in on the whole racket. Needless to say, our bewildered pair of private eyes, hiding in the girls' cabin, failed to spot their complicity, although Piggy, always on the lookout, spotted almost everything else. As the two villainesses secretly enter the cabin of a nasty-looking Oriental, the scoundrel whom we are soon to discover to be a black-hearted, yellow-white slaver, we resume this colourful story.
So, those two English fools suspect something. I shall take steps to limit it up.
How, Mr. Chang?
He who takes steps as the snow leopard does will arrive many days before the goat. But he who stands still will bend in the wind like chrysanthemum on cloudy day.
What does this mean, Mr. Wang?
Means I'm gonna kill him, knock him on the head of his job. But first, we must get all girls off the boat and to my villa. My orchestra. Only need two for the set. Then they play for me at Andiletta.
Andaletta, how romantic. But why do you call your villa Andaletta?
Him next to the post office. We must take girls to join others already at villa. You go, see Alphonse arrange transport. I set about catching lost two girls.
Well, why not quit now? You've got enough for an orchestra, and they're good girls. A lot of them can double their instruments.
Sounds fascinating. But me want all girls.
Even our manager, Mrs. Bumstead?
She American woman with figure like hills and valleys of Tibet?
Well, she certainly does go up and down.
No. Proverbs say, he who will be in the field needs to know only how to make the daisy chain. But he who climb mountain needs special equipment. No, I do without her. You go, arrange transport. I wonder, what do you double, my dear? Saxophone.
Aren't you hot in there?
Darling,
Well, why don't you take it off?
I have got nothing on underneath it. See? This is what I want to talk to you about.
What is that black thing you've got under there?
My flute. I escaped from the Chinaman's house. I was in the orchestra. He's got a lot of us up there, and they have taken away our clothes.
Chinaman? What Chinaman?
What's going on? Is it lunch?
No, Chief, this girl says all the girls are up at the Chinaman's house. She's got no clothes on. She's got the fur coat, and she plays the flute.
Sorry, mademoiselle, can't afford it. Pas d'argent. Je suis complètement broke. Allez, au revoir.
No, this has nothing to do with that. My clothes have been removed. He thinks I'm a French tart.
Do you mind? You're making me hungry.
Will you listen, please? This girl's managed to extricate herself from the Chinaman's hands. He's still got the rest of the orchestra.
What?
Look, we cannot talk here. We must get off the boat where we cannot be overheard. We can talk as we walk.
Yes, well, what I can do, I can record it all and then write it up later. Well, you lead the way, Miss...
Susie.
Susie. We'll follow.
I hope the fur coat does not attract too much attention.
Well, there's a chink at the back of it.
Is there? Do you see?
No. I mean, the Chinaman, you know.
Please, Chief, save it for later if you don't mind, please. Oh, it says well.
And so Susie began to unfold her curious story. As they walk, they hear of the mad Oriental, Chang Fang Wang, a dangerous and deranged villain, who not only desires a harem of white women, but craves also to possess a light classical orchestra of his own to entertain him.
Naturally, he only wants girls who are good performers.
She warns them that at the Villa Andiletta, in addition to the mad Oriental Chang Fang Wang, is an even madder Scots butler, Angus McSpreading.
He ruins the entire household. He is absolutely biscuits.
Biscuits? Crackers?
He thinks he is the reincarnation of your famous Scottish poet,
Robbie Burns, you mean?
Yes. He is covered in red hair. He wears a kilt and he speaks only in rhyme.
In rhyme?
All the time.
Good God. How odd. I would have thought that was almost impossible to do. Wouldn't you? You hear that, Chief? Almost beyond belief. Very grim. Let's keep a watch out for him.
They learn, too, how she escaped, hidden in a bundle of old clothes given to the Red Cross by Mr. Wang's German housekeeper, Frau Blauenblitter.
I kept a fur coat and hat. There was nothing else suitable.
Hardly suitable for this weather, though, is it? You must be boiling inside there.
I am. But they do not encourage nudists in this particular area of the town.
Oh. Hey, you'll pass out. Come on, let's duck in this alley. Charlie, keep an eye open, would you?
Oh, that's better. What a treat.
Certainly was.
And so the weird-looking trio decide to try to gain entry into the sinister Villa Andiletta to rescue the unfortunate girls from the clutches of the wily Wang. They begin to lay their plans, pausing only for Susie to prevent Piggy from completely boiling over and to give Charlie a turn. She certainly did give Charlie a turn, and Piggy boiled over anyway. Next day, suitably disguised, the disastrous duo are driven to the villa by our brand new heroine, Susie. While Susie and Charlie attempt to gain entry round the back of the house, Piggy is left to face the front door and the eccentricities of the mad, fearsome butler, Angus McSpreading.
Wished away, what are you doing here today?
I am here, how you say, solamente fixe electricitación. Es necesario.
Nothing's broke. What's this, some kind of joke?
The trouble is outside of the cars, my friend, but I have to come in, switch you off, and check your fuse. Otherwise, one false move and poof, 1,000 volts light up your spot.
Well, if what you say is correct, come in and get the wiring checked. But listen, heed my warning clear. My master keeps his women here. You'll find them all in friendly mood. And underneath their clothes, they're nude. Keep your mind upon your wires and sublimate your base desires. I'll smash your brains in all directions if I catch you making loose connections.
And as Charlie drops out of sight and into trouble, a familiar tapping is once more heard. Who is the sinister man with the white stick? Is it a case of blind man's bluff? What will happen to our two heroes of the harem? When they try to mingle with the girls, will they be grabbed by the eunuchs? Don't miss next week's excruciating episode of Band of Slaves.
Simpkins for you, sir.
Send him in, please.
Morning, Mr. Fishbine.
Morning, Simpkins. Come in, please.
Yep.
Sit down, please, Simpkins.
Yep.
Simpkins, how long have you been with us now in this office as an accountant?
Well, 5781. It's 24. It's 24. 8,760. That's on the credit side. And then we take away weekends. That's 728. And the bank holidays 1, 2, 6. That's 854. 854. That's 7,906 days net, sir.
I see, Simpkins. I think it would be fair to say, would it not, Simpkins, that you are just about the most boring man I have ever met in my whole life.
Yes, that's quite correct. I am, sir. Yes.
You are tedious to a degree I have not hitherto thought possible.
Yes, I quite realise that, so I do try very hard not to be tedious, but I am by nature a very dull person, you see, so I've tried to analyse what it is about me that makes me so dull and insipidly boring, but I've failed to isolate the exact root cause of the problem and thus make amends in some form for my singly unexcitable aspect of my general demeanour, which characterises the innate reserve I have in my approach to life.
Shut up! You're a social failure, Simpkins.
Yes, sir.
You are a boring, dreary, piddling little drone whose long and dismal career has contained no fun whatsoever. Your drab life revolves around the singularly drab and boring profession of accountancy.
Yes, sir.
Yes, even your name, Simpkins, is boring.
Yes, sir.
Don't keep agreeing with me, Simpkins. Don't keep agreeing with me. That in itself is boring.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more, sir. I was only saying the same to Simpkins of invoicing the other day when I was talking about the downturn in investment potential of unit trusts, sir, which...
Shut up about the downturn of investment of unit trusts. How can you refer to anybody as Simpkins of invoicing?
I beg your pardon, sir?
She's your wife, Simpkins. Can't you use her first name?
That is her first name.
Married life with you two is one long round of impetuous hysteria.
Oh, no, I wouldn't go so far as to say.
Have you any children?
2.4, sir.
2.4?
Yes, we've got a boy and a girl and another one on the way, sir.
How old are the children?
Well, Perkins is 13 and Wilkins is nearly 11, sir.
Well, that's 3 times you haven't been boring, at least.
Yes, I have no complaints from my lady wife, so mind you, she was asleep at the time, so I suppose that's...
Tell me, Simpkins, when you go home at night, I mean, what do you do to relax? I mean, how do you let your hair down?
Well, I watch television sometimes, sir. I watch Blue Peter or The Weatherman, nothing too racy, you know what I mean.
Do you have any pets at all? I expect you might have a vulture or a black mamba.
I've got a little tiny budgie, sir.
Oh, wonderful, you've got a little tiny budgie.
Yes.
And what is the tiny budgie called?
Tompkins, sir.
Tompkins Simpkins. Yes. And tell me, Simpkins, do you allow your children, Perkins Simpkins and Watkins Simpkins, play with the budgie Tompkins Simpkins? Or do you leave that to your wife, Simpkins Simpkins?
I beg your pardon, sir?
Simpkins, have you ever smiled? Do you ever smile?
Oh, yeah, I smile all the time, sir.
Would you please smile for me, then, now?
Oh, I hardly think in office hours that would be the thing.
You hardly think in office hours that would be the thing. Yes. I am going to make you smile for me, Simpkins. If it is the last thing I do, I am going to make you smile. You hear that? You're going to have the time of your life.
Will that be all, then, sir?
No, it will not be all. Why don't you once do something different? Just once do something different and outrageous. Just come in the morning and grab the tea lady and make mad, passionate love to her on top of the tea trolley.
They'll squash all her eclairs, sir.
Never mind her eclairs.
No.
Just do anything. Yeah. Something different.
I will. I'll try to do my very best.
Oh, don't get out.
Yes,
get
I
out
will.
of here.
I'll get out, sir.
Before you drive me mad with boredom. You all right, Doris?
Yes. Would you like a chocolate eclair?
Actually, tonight we're all a bit excited because one of the camera crew has just got into the Guinness Book of Records. Earlier this afternoon, he set up a new world record for the longest a BBC cameraman has gone without a drink. 27 yards. No, that's only a joke. Promise. There we are. Made me go quite dizzy there. No, actually, to be honest, I'm smiling. I'm feeling a little bit drained at the moment myself because I spent the weekend potholing. Do I hear a snigger of doubt? I say potholing. To be honest, actually, I was in the back garden trying to pull up a worm and it got the better of me. I was out there trying to do a spot of gardening. Bit of a thankless task because once again our annual vegetable crop has been a disaster. We must be the only family in Surrey who peel the carrots with a pencil sharpener. As usual, the cabbage patch is a wasteland. Dennis was only saying the other day, he said, that's a wasteland. He said, in fact, the caterpillars have grown incredibly fat. My wife found one at the bottom of the garden, thought it was an unexploded bomb. Of course, to be honest, if she wasn't so fussy, the garden wouldn't be the state it is, to be honest. Would you believe we took 6 months to lay a lawn because she couldn't decide on the colour? As a matter of fact, things have never been right with that lawn because she got the grass seed mixed up with the bird seed. And twice a week we have to mow the budgie. The trouble is, she doesn't really think about what she's doing, my wife. I'll never forget last bonfire night. A bit of a memorable evening in itself. Because that was the occasion I got my shoelace caught in a rocket, spent the night on the church roof. Well, my wife found out that when you light a Catherine wheel, you can make it go round. So she went indoors and set fire to the housekeeping money. Now, I shouldn't really moan, because in these hard times, it does pay to be careful. Every January, even now, we still go and fight our way through the sales at the local discount warehouse, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as it's called. Fortunately, I learned the real value of money during my rather Spartan childhood. I always remember the first proper Christmas dinner we ever had. My mother served up a kipper with 2 Brussels sprouts on top. I never forgave her for that. I thought she'd killed a mermaid. My mother, fortunately, has a rather interesting job. She had an interesting job at that time, helping to preserve stained glass. She was a window cleaner for British Rail. Actually, going on the way I'm doing, I hope I've not offended the producer, by the way. He came round the other day, and he said to me, I want no more rambling this weekend. You just get straight on with the story. So here it is. And it concerns... That's a clever device. Now, it concerns, this story, a small touring theatrical company who arrived midweek in this rather bleak, poky, dead-and-alive town, nowhere near Watford. I must make that clear from the outset, because I wouldn't want a lot of angry calls from people in Watford. Well, it's possible, you know. Some of them are on the telephone there now. I mean, it's an incredible No, it is. It's an incredible responsibility, really, when you think that I am sitting here being watched by 17, maybe 18 people. I do have to be careful, very careful. So this theatrical company arrived in town, and the leading light of the group, a rather grand actor-manager type, strolls into the local butcher shop with his silver-topped cane, his astrakhan collar, and he says, "Good day to you," he said, "butcher. My name is Sir Balthazar Pules, the world-famous thespian, a world-famous thespian. Thousands have laughed at my Malvolio," he said. I was wondering whether, perchance, you would be kind enough to cash me a small cheque." Whereupon he unfolds the cheque, and he holds it out to the butcher, who squints at it closely and says, politely but firmly, "Naff off, Ponsleeches." I knew you'd like that. Just a slight suggestion of style there. Whereupon the chap carefully folds the cheque and he puts it in his back pocket, you see. He leaves it, and he leaves. And he goes next door to the baker, same thing again. "My name is Sir Balthazar Pules, world-famous thespian. Would you be kind enough to cash me a small cheque?" Once again, the same reply, "On your bike." So once again, carefully folds the cheque up, puts it back in his pocket and leaves. This happens in every shop in the street. Grocers, fishmongers, tailors, ironmongers, even to the man on the corner selling matches, who unfortunately only took Diners Club. And everywhere the same. Finally he arrives at the laundry. He goes in, takes the cheque out of his pocket, unfolds it. "My name is Sir Balthazar Pules." And the chap behind the counter said, "I'm sorry, we don't cash cheques." He said, "I don't want you to cash it, I want you to iron it."
the winter, it's 40 degrees below. Tramp, tramp, tramp around the Yukon, you can't get a dose of flu. We're marching in the sleet with patriotic feet, 'cause they've gone red, white, and blue. Oh yes, they've gone red, white, and blue. Tramp, 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 here come the Mounties. Tramp, 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 through the snow. When the freezes hit your bridges, it's 40 degrees below. Tramp, tramp, tramp around Alaska, left, right, in the open air. The frostbite's gone and got around your you-know-what. Till planes you know where. Yes, till planes you know where. I've been a Mountie all my life. This tramping's not a load of fun. I've got bow legs and corns like eggs. This hat weighs half a ton. The Mounties always get their man, a fact the Mounties can't forget. I'm brave and bold, but when it's cold, I'd rather get a big brunette. He was wanted all the way from Quebec to Hudson's Bay. He was lousy, he was mean, the dirty cheat. Dirty cheat. And he wore a grimy shirt, partly wool and largely dirt. He was known to one and all as Pongy Pete. He was wanted in Toronto, Winnipeg and Montreal. Montreal. He was filthy top to toe. He had acne and BO. He's the wanted man we want the least of all. The Mounties on their horses, it's a sight that's sure to please. I'm taking riding lessons and I'm learning by degrees. I leap upon my charger and it buckles at the knees. So we don't ride no more. When we go out on maneuver, I've got a horse that's quite a mover. I've a bucket and a hoover. The horse goes trot, trot, trot. Jean-Pierre, always on the loose, round the old caboose, hunting elk and moose, shot a duck and gave his girl a goose, but she wasn't interested. Jean-Pierre, hunting everywhere, buffalo and hare, told his lady fair. Next week he said, I fancy hunting bear, and he got arrested. French lead in old Quebec. 2 weeks and you're a wreck. Mamsells, damsels, blondes in every bar, gin and French and lots of ooh-la-la. Blind dates and candlelight, our dates were quite the sight. I got Phyllis and Phyllis and I got Chloe and Coco Van. French lead in old Quebec. Maurice, that sexy lumberjack. Lumberjack. He trod the forest every track. Every track the blighter left his mark on every bush and tree. Not to mention Rosemary. He was big and strong and hairy. She was winsome, weak and wary, and he chased her around the prairie for her dairy lead. He said, come here, and she said thanks. She said thanks. She was thick as two short planks. Two short planks. Rosie lumbered down the track, the rotten bee, and now he's lumbered Rosemary. Riding round the Rockies, see us gallop through the trees. I call my horse Tornado, 'cause he's faster than the breeze. I call my pony Windy, 'cause he's fed on hay and pea. The open air for me. A man can be just what he wants to be. I think that I'll be 8 stone 10, and I'll be 6'3". Up and away with the Mounties. It's time to hit the trail, my friend. We're off to the wild blue yonder. It's up the creek and right around the bend to places where the blondes are blonder. We'd rather go by bus. We'll march to the golden sunset. We're off to join the tea and Vonset. Our Mounties lost the line for us. Our Mounties line.
Well, that's just about all we have time for tonight, isn't it, Ronnie?
Yes, I'm sorry to say it is, but before we go, here's a few late items of news. J. Willington Threep, the Blue Film music composer who had a few words with a lady flautist after last night's performance of his pornographic Symphony No. 1, was today charged with making improper overtures.
In London today, Max von Stettenheim, who claims to have been Adolf Hitler's favourite cook, launched the first volume of his autobiography entitled Out of the Frying Pan into the Fuhrer.
Greaser Dibbs, the Pentonville prisoner who's watched 199 consecutive episodes of Crossroads, didn't reach the magic 200 mark tonight. He's been released from the punishment block.
Spencer Whittle, Britain's oldest post office clerk, retired today. Friends and colleagues lined up to shake his hand, and he told them to go to the next window.
A spokesman for the common market admitted today there were unmistakable signs it was in trouble. The Italians have asked to change sides.
There were amazing scenes at a Doncaster nightclub tonight when a cross-eyed stripper came on and took the pianist's clothes off.
Finally, the incredible shrinking boxer, Harry Zontal, who started his career as a heavyweight, became a bantamweight, and finished up as a lightweight, is to retire and take up a desk job. He'll be a paperweight.
Next week, in a bumper show, London Transport have promised us that a typical London bus driver will be coming into the studio. But he won't be stopping.
Until then, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Good night.
Good night.